So for my Pong clone, I'm going to create a new project with CLion. I'm just going to say new project. It's a C++ executable. I'll call this my Pong clone. Language standard, this should be fine. I'm just going to pick the default one and then hit create. Inside of my projects directory, then C++, I should have this Pong clone directory now. And I still need those library files. So it's pretty simple now. If I go to downloads and go to my test here, I can simply take this lib and include directory and copy them over to my Pong clone. And then I also need to make some changes to the CMake lists. So currently it pretty much just includes the main.cpp file as part of this project, but I still need all of those libraries set up. So all of this stuff. Now I'm simply going to copy it from the other one. So I'll open up this file, and then everything that has to do with target link and target include, and also add library, I'm just going to paste that here. Okay, so now that I've copied over all of this stuff, the project name isn't the same anymore. So we need to replace basic sim, which was the name of the previous one, with Pong clone. So I'll just replace all of this. And now everywhere here where we link this stuff, it should have Pong clone. If I refresh my CMake project, shouldn't see any problems. And then I should be able to include Box2D and then Box2D.header. And this comes from this include directory. So I'm including this file here using this notation as well. And then just to be sure that it's working correctly, I can check if my code completion works. If I just type out B2 something, then we already see here a bunch of stuff. And this is coming from the Box2D library. Okay, so our project is set up. And for this first video, I just want to talk about the Box2D simulation. So to run our simulation, we need a few things. The first thing is a world container where we put all of this stuff in there. And then this world is going to take care of simulating the physics. So the first thing that we need is going to be this world. And this world contains all of these physics entities. So we can have multiple physics simulations running in parallel pretty much if we have multiple worlds defined. And it's pretty simple, really. The only thing that we're really concerned with for a very simple simulation is setting up the gravity. Now for our Pong clone, we won't have gravity, so we'll set it to 0, 0. So how do we do this? Within Box2D, everything is created based on definitions. So if we create a world, we'll have a world definition. If we create the individual physics entities, we'll have a couple of definitions for them. The first one is a body definition and then a shape definition. But we'll get into that. So let's take a look at the world first. We start out with B2. So that's for our Box2D. And then we can have a world definition structure here. If we control click on it, this is going to be a struct with a whole bunch of stuff in here. And it's actually pretty well documented, so this is nice. So I need one of these, and I'll call this just world def. And all of these definition objects, they have a B2 default sort of constructor factory method. And then I'll just say default world def. And that's it. We can explicitly set the gravity to a B2 vector. This is a two-dimensional vector, but we can also initialize it with this curly brace notation here. And then I'm simply going to initialize it to a 0 gravity. So there's no gravity. It doesn't go anywhere. So now that we have our world definition, or the description of our world, we need an ID for this world. So we actually need to create the thing. And then from that creation, we get the ID. So this is another type from B2, and it's simply called a world ID. And I'll just call this a world ID. B2 create world. And this is a pretty set pattern with Box2D. We have a definition like this. So some object def, we have a default factory method for that. Then we set up some parameters and some configuration. And then finally, we have some ID. The ID gives us a handle towards this created thing. And then to create these things, we have B2 create, and then the name of the thing that we're creating. These things take in pointer values to the definitions. So in this case, we'll pass in the address of this world definition. And there we go. Now we have a world ID. With Box2D, all of these things, they're created. So we can also clean them up if we call destroy world and pass in the world ID. This will take care of cleaning up this world from our program. So there we go. If I run this, pretty much nothing will happen, but we already have a world. So just a quick summary of this video. The most important thing, well, was the world definition and creating this world, but also the pattern. We have this B2 object. We start out with a definition, and we have these default definition methods. So this gives us some default structure for this variable. Then we can set up some parameters on there. And then finally, we need an ID. That's our handle to the created thing. And we call that, and we create one of these with this B2 create, and then the object we're dealing with. In this case, we're creating a world. And we'll see this come up a few times with all of the other things that we'll create.